Hello, my name is Madison Yankovic, and the TED Talk that I chose to present is You Have No Idea Where Camels Really Come From. The TED Talk was presented by Latif Nasser. What is a paleobiologist? A paleobiologist is a branch of paleontology dealing with the fossil forms of life, especially with a reference to their origin, structure, and evolution. This field of study is to provide a scientific and public understanding of the history on Earth pertaining to biological and environmental factors. This is portrayed through the fossil record of plants, animals, and protists. To visually understand this research, fossil collections are assembled into the structure in which it was originally created. What does paleobiology have to do with camels? A lot more than one might think. Paleobiologist Natalia Rachynski is a key person to the discovery of where camels may have originated. Natalia Rachynski is a Canadian paleobiologist whose interests are in evolutionary functional morphology, particularly those in polar climates. She has 3 degrees, a Bachelor of Science in Integrated Science Studies at Carleton University in 1994, a Master's in Science specializing in zoology at the University of Toronto in 1996, and a PhD in biological anthropology and anatomy at Duke University in 2003. Her research focuses specifically on 2 aspects: paleobiology and the paleoenvironment of the Cenozoic High Arctic, and functional morphology and evolution of feeding and locomotive systems in vertebrates. She is especially notable for the discovery of the carnivorous Arctic mammal, the protoceo. She is also known for her discovery of a tibia bone that resembled a cloven-hoofed mammal. Where was this unique bone found? This bone was found in the Arctic Circle in the remote Canadian tundra. The Arctic Circle is the southernmost latitude in the northern hemisphere, which means the sun can either drop below or stay above the horizon for a whole 24-hour period. Winters here are extremely cold, and the overall general temperature is cold. The Canadian tundra is a large region of the northern hemisphere that lacks trees and possesses abundant rock outcrops. The environment of the tundra consists of permafrost, short summers, long winters, and what they call Arctic night. There is a low percentage of annual precipitation, strong winds, and not to mention winter blizzards. To be more specific, Rachynski discovered this fragmented bone in what's called the file leaf bed within the Canadian tundra in 2006. This is a sandy deposit located on Strathonga Fiord on Ellesmere Island. Many fossils have been found on this site, such as the remains of plants, wood, and leaf material. She noticed a palm-sized russet-colored object of what she thought was a piece of wood or part of a prehistoric plant. However, there were no tree rings, and she noticed it was a bone. She collected 30 fragments of that exact same bone in the same spot over the course of 4 years, and the pieces were so tiny she couldn't figure out what it was. Something unremarkably strange, however, is that this fragment of bone was the first mammal that was ever discovered on this particular site. A 3D surface scanner gave her an indication to what it was. It was a tibia that belonged to a cloven-hoofed mammal. Turns out, the Arctic temperatures preserved the collagen in the bone, and the 3.5 million-year-old bone belonged to a camel, otherwise known as collagen fingerprinting. This technique is extremely unique because it can date back farther than what DNA samples can provide. It also has the capacity to use large amounts of samples that are originally classified as uninformative. Collagen is the main protein found in animal connective tissue, yielding gelatin when boiled. It is found in 4 significant places within the body: skin, tendons, muscle, and bone. Its main purpose is to provide structure and strength. Dr. Mike Buckley, researcher at Manchester University, explains, by combining the collagen fingerprint and reconstructing the morphology, we can be quite confident that this fossil is the same as, or closely related to, the Paracamulus we see further south. This type of camel is the closest ancestor to the modern-day camel we see today. The size of the bone indicated that it was 9 feet tall and weighed about a ton. This is 30% larger than the modern-day camel. A giant Arctic camel! This signified that they originated in Arctic temperatures. Temperature-wise, it is the polar opposite from the Sahara, where camels are normally found. This is 745 miles north of where North American camels were previously thought to have originated. Maybe they evolved to fit the needs of the desert, so before they possibly evolved, were the hooves meant to tramp on heavy snow? Was their hump meant to store fat instead of water so they could survive through long winters and long 24-hour dark periods? This is an important discovery because it provides the first evidence of camels living in the high Arctic region, explains Dr. Rutchinsky. It extends the previous range of camels in North America northward by about 1,200 kilometers, and suggests that the lineage that gave rise to modern camels may have been originally adapted to living in the Arctic forest environment. What animals do you think of when you think of the desert? What animals do you think of when you think about the Arctic? What comes to mind are 2 completely different geographical locations, and also extremely different animal types based off of those locations. When given the thought of our evolutionary past, there are many different theories as to what we were before we were Homo sapiens. The evolutionary history of mammals, such as a camel, also has a vast majority of evolutionary history. The story of our world is dynamic. It requires our brains to readjust, and the world is constantly evolving into new things. Who would have thought that there was a day when camels existed in the Arctic Circle? We now have a better understanding due to the fossil record that signifies camel evolution. 3 questions I have pertaining to this topic are: could the evolutionary history of camels living in the Arctic mean that there were other mammals we don't know about that may have lived there as well? Also, could this have a reverse effect, such as the remains of Arctic animals being found in desert climate? And lastly, why did the camels evolve away from the Arctic regions if that's where they originated in the first place? Just for a little bit of humor.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico? I'd say happier than a camel on Wednesday.
Hump day!
Get happy. Get Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.